Welcome to Toxland. We're your hosts, Jesse and Bree, two besties on a mission to shake up the beauty industry from the inside out. Say goodbye to the self-help overload and hello to our cheeky and unfiltered take on being a babe in a toxic world. Let's get toxic.
Hey, Toxic Babes. We're back this week with the second part of our interview with lovely Laban. Let's jump right back into where we left off.
When you started working in Beverly Hills and you started really diving into aesthetics, how did the commune react to that? Like when you would tell people what you were doing, were you faced with judgment or what types of reactions did you receive? So my father, being a handsome man, really cared about his appearance. He wore beautiful clothing. He had custom-made suits. He very much cared about his appearance. He was neatly groomed at all times. And so I remember him visiting me in Beverly Hills. And at that time, I wasn't trained yet on injectables. And so the doctor injected him and my stepmom. And it ended up migrating on my stepmom.
Oh, no.
And it hit the crow's feet. It hit her zygomatic.
Oh, no.
So she had a very funky smile. Oh, no. And she was horrified and very scared for a long time. And, of course, all of my siblings made fun of her as long. But after that resolved and I was injecting, he loved it.
Oh, he did?
Every time I would visit him, he'd say, "Are you going to bring your stuff?
Gonna bring your drugs?"
Yeah, he loved it. Oh, he loved it. But I remember he was so sweet because I remember every time right before I injected him, I could just see him closing his eyes and like saying a prayer in his mind. Like he cleared his throat a lot and he'd be like, and like I could see him just saying, "God, make this right," like in his mind. And he had a very powerful voice too. My father. It was very like, I have it recorded and I listen to it sometimes. But yeah, he loved it. So that was them. My mom fully on board because she learned how to do it and was very excited. The other hippies in the commune, more judgmental. But I think once I would explain how everything worked, everyone was on board. Yeah. Cool. I think the most judgmental now in my life is probably my mom's side of the family who are not into vanity at all. And that's, they can have their opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. As a mother, what values and lessons from your upbringing do you prioritize teaching your children?
So one thing, as I shared before, my mother and I think the whole commune was very obsessed with weight. Everyone needed to be skinny, and my mom would, say horrible comments to me, but her mother said them to her. It was just this horrible generational thing. And I think at that time, that's just the way the world was, right? Totally. So there's no blame, but I went to therapy for a long time to get through that. And so with Ondine, I never talk about diets. I don't go on diets. I'm not on a diet. I don't talk about that at all. I talk about health and exercise and eating well, and I love to cook, and so I give them good nourishment, and it brings me so much happiness to give them good, real food. And so I think that was a big shift just from the way I grew up. And so the lesson is basically teaching them to just be happy with themselves. I feel blessed that, she's only 11, but she's a super confident kid.
Yeah.
Like, I hear her say things, I'm like, you are so cool. I was not that cool at 11 years old.
She's pretty cool.
She's cool.
Yeah. She's going to be our friend.
Yeah.
In a couple of years.
And they both adjust really easily. We've shifted them around. They've switched schools. And so I think she's a confident kid, but I just really talk to her about having a good sense of self, how important that is to really know who you are and know that she's about to enter middle school. That this is kind of when the mean girl stuff comes in, and that when someone makes a mean comment to you, it's more about themselves than it is you. Absolutely. And just rely on your friends and a diverse group of friends. And I think those are things. My mom didn't give me like a lot of advice. She was so busy she worked night shift. She was sleeping during the day. I just never had anyone. She didn't even explain sex to me. That was my older sister, and I had no idea how it all worked. It was like, I didn't have anyone to really offer me words except my older sister. And so I just try to be there for her. But Ondine's a very secretive little person too. She doesn't
Would you say, in terms of both your kiddos, is Orson more in line with your personality?
Yes.
I feel like that's what my opinion is, but I don't.
I understand him more, and that's hard because Jake and Orson are very different with their personalities. Yeah. He feels energy.
Yeah.
Big time, like shifts in energy. It's why he has a really hard time when Jake and I are talking about Skin by Lovely because our tone changes. And he really has a hard time. He wants to interrupt. He wants to be loud. He wants to break whatever's going on, that energy. Mm-hmm. And he's charismatic.
Mr. Charisma.
He's very outgoing. Mm-hmm. He's goofy.
Confident.
Yes, and confident. So, yes, definitely I get him. But I get Undine, too. She's, like I said, she's cool.
Yeah, she's cool. She's always been cool.
Yeah, she was born cool.
Can you describe a person or professional mentor who has had just a big impact on your life?
So I would say professional, probably over the years, multiple people. I think the biggest shift in my career was when I joined Aesthetic Advancements. And it was Jill Jones and Don Segrillo, and they were the founders of that. And it was one of the first aesthetic training companies. And it was so fun. Leslie Fletcher was on the team. There were so many big names on the team, and they taught me so much. I loved being with that group. We would have an annual meeting, and then I traveled all over the country, and we do trainings in hotel ballrooms. Cool. And there were always two of us, and that was so fun. I learned so much. I had been injecting, I think, 5 years when I became a trainer for them, but I still didn't know very much. There wasn't much to know. There weren't many training programs.
No standardization.
No standardization. And that crew had been around. They were surgical nurses. Those were the first aesthetic nurses, were the surgical nurses. So cool. And so they trained me. So that was amazing in terms of shaping my aesthetic career. And Leslie's super innovative. I think she's a very cool lady. I love her style. Mm-hmm. She's so cool. Mm-hmm. And Jill's, I think, not as prevalent in the aesthetic community. Don has a practice in the Midwest. And I think those people really helped shape my career. At the time we started Skin by Lovely, I don't think there were a lot of other nurse practitioner-owned practices. I think that was new. I'm trying to think if I remember. I don't think I remember anyone kind of who I could go to for advice with that. But other kind of mentors, my oldest sister, Kim, who when I was 18, I nannied for in Europe. And I loved, she's just elegant and glamorous and beautiful. And I remember at 18 saying, I want to be like that. Mm-hmm. And so she really helped. And she met Jake when Jake proposed in Santorini. And so she had a big part of our kind of romance in our life. And she's amazing.
I love that.
Really special. Did you ever have an occlusion, back in the day, before, people really knew how to, reverse them and think, holy shit, what am I going to do?
Yes, but I didn't know what it was. Oh. So this was actually way back early injecting. And the only fillers that were available were Radiesse and Juvederm. And this was with Radiesse.
Oh, no.
And did I know where any vessels even were? No. Did I know where the foramens were? No. So I injected a guy right here and right kind of mid-cheek. And he came back maybe 2 months later, and he said, the strangest thing happened. My skin peeled in that area. No. And I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, that is strange. Maybe you had a reaction of some kind. Years later, I remembered that conversation and thought, oh, God, I gave that poor man an occlusion. Now, there was no, there were no scars. It must have been a venous something. But I was like, oh.
Yeah. It's interesting now if that happened. I mean, obviously, we don't inject Radiesse like that now. But even still, there's not much to do with Radiesse.
Right. Right.
I just got it in my butt.
Yeah.
Well, I love Radiesse, but you just have to use it in really safe areas.
Yes. But that was the first filler that I ever injected was Radiesse. Yeah. And then I remember when Restylane came out and we did a split face, nasolabial fold, Juvederm, and Restylane. And I was like part of the study in the office.
So which one?
We're like, this is so amazing, this gel.
You are truly
And then everyone looked like, monkeys.
Yeah.
Everyone's nasolabial folds were totally flat.
Like, God.
That was such a freaky look.
Oh my God. Thank God we've evolved.
I think we're still trying to, people who don't understand or have any concept of what we do, we're still trying to break that stigma of that being the look that we provide.
I don't think people look that way anymore. It's more the lips that have gotten out of control.
No,
Thank goodness.
I think they're thinking of, pictures they would see of some older woman.
Right.
This is when people are not well educated.
Or plastic surgery. A lot of the time, people mix up injectables with plastic surgery.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that with Dr. Kim, too, just about, I think that will
The whole world. What's one thing you wish injectors would stop doing?
Well, I will say, and I know that I've shared this with you both, but at the time that I started, nurses were not even acceptable as injecting any, fillers or Botox. It was physicians that should be doing it at that time. And so we had to fight really hard. We had to work with industry to even be accepted as equal injectors. And that took a lot of fight and push and training and showing them. And it was actually Allergan that really helped elevate nurses. And actually Jake started the AMI. It had a different name at that time, but he was like, nurses are the ones that are injecting. This is the team that we should train to be trainers. And I think we worked really hard to earn respect. And so when I see people not being respectful of themselves and how hard we've worked and how much education we have behind us and doing silly things on social media that make it look kind of not professional, it makes me sad.
Preach.
Yeah.
Preach.
It makes me sad. It was so hard. If they only knew how hard it was to be, regarded as equal in terms of being a good injector, then I think maybe they'd think twice about it. But, it's a group and patients maybe like it. They like to see the playful side, and I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But that's just me personally.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'm not loving is everyone starting their own practice. And the only reason I say that, I totally get it. I'm an entrepreneur and I understand that itch to start your own thing and have your own brand, is that if everyone starts their own brand and their own thing, how is anyone going to be successful?
Yeah.
If every door is a different aesthetics practice, how is everyone going to be successful? I just wonder that.
Well, I think beyond being successful, I think the people who are opening their own practices, and it's like no shade to them because I've trained a lot of them, through Injection U, and I don't want it to sound like I'm putting them down in any way, because I think a lot of the people who take Injection U are super cautious about what they introduce into their small little one-room practices before they're really rolling out, doing a lot of stuff, not knowing what they're doing.
Right.
Because I think there are people opening practices and they still, doesn't matter if you've been in the industry for, 1 year or 2 years, you're not going to have been through all that shit.
Yeah.
I think you see, like, the longer you're in it, the more capable you're be able to run your own practice. And that's what's kind of concerning to me, is the safety. And, it's going to feed more outcomes that aren't representative of this industry. It's going to create more crazy faces, and they're not going to know what to do with it. Or they won't have the means to fix it. And then, that's the representation of our industry.
It's true. And now there's so many companies helping people start their own. It's like a whole nother business that's, been created, which, I get it. I mean, like I said, I get it. I'm an entrepreneur. I understand people wanting to do their own thing. But hindsight, like, work in aesthetics yourself first. Totally. Get some good education. And honestly, what we've learned, it takes a community.
It does.
I love seeing our clinical team on our teams emailing questions to each other, and there's all these people there to answer immediately. Or they're about to see a patient and they don't know what to do. They have all of these resources there, just, a message away. And that makes me so happy, how interactive they all are with each other, even though they're in different states.
Think about as a patient,
Yes.
how valuable that is. Like, I would love to have 21
You have a team
brilliant
behind
people
you.
figuring out what's the best technique for me.
I had a patient recently who had a complication, and she came in yesterday and everything had resolved, super happy. And she said, I have never felt more secure and cared for. It was the best experience. She was like, I just want to tell you that. Please tell. You had everyone reaching out, making me feel good. And I told my husband, I am never going anywhere else. Like, everyone's so responsive. I didn't even have to ask, reach out. Everyone was responsive, checking on me constantly. And I felt so cared for. And the greatest gift.
Yeah, absolutely. Thinking on the flip side of the one room space is the corporatization of aesthetics.
Yes.
And these big groups that are just copy paste with treatments. They're giving patients the exact same treatment as the last patient that was in. And I'm curious how they're, handling complications and how they're going to also be screwing up the industry and giving us a bad name, because that's the opposite ends of it. They have all the backing of it, but it's just a group of people in a boardroom that really don't care about this industry at all.
It's where all of medicine's going. And that's the sad thing. It's every derm's offices. I mean, dentists, everyone is being bought up by private equity right now. And it's an interesting world. I mean, it's why we went employee owned. We're kind of going the opposite direction. Yeah.
On that note, what legacy do you hope to leave behind, not only in the beauty industry, but in your personal life?
I think it's really starting the first aesthetic hospitality practice that's employee owned. I think that is a great gift. I hope it will be a great gift to everyone who has been on this wild ride with us. I hope to create generational wealth for everyone that is my business partner. I will fight and work really hard to where I can create that. I hope to give more than I take, absolutely, in this world. I hope to raise 2 well-adjusted, healthy-minded children who do good in this world. And just lots and lots of positive experiences for people in aesthetics, too.
Absolutely.
Change the brand.
Yeah. If you could go back 10, 20, let's say 20 years and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
I would say pause and really listen when the universe is sending you lessons that you need to learn from. And also just kind of go with the flow. I have this little saying, go with the flow, the universe will know. It's just because I do believe in that. I think that I believe that there's guides around me that kind of are helping guide me in the right path. And so I think pausing and listening is super important. And also just trusting, right? Just trust that things will work out. Because I do think that the universe has our back in terms of leading us in a positive direction if we're willing to listen.
I love that.
And based on how well you know both of us, is there advice that you would give us as individuals?
Ooh. Well, you know the advice that I gave you not that long ago.
Which one?
About to eat real good foods.
Yeah, I remember the episode, guys, where I puked up the peppermint milkshake. She was the one that gave me the good advice.
Yes. I think I think that we are ingrained into a diet culture. And so then we choose sugar-free and all this crap that is so bad for our bodies. And so I think as much as you can fill your body with real, nutrient-dense food, when you go to Italy, you'll see how different you feel because it's just not processed. You feel
No, that advice hit. It has stayed with me since that
your
night.
whole spirit changes, right? Yeah. When you don't have all these weird chemicals floating around in your body. No, but I think you're intuitive, Brie. You know what you need. And I think that's super important.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Jessie.
She's lost. I've been lost since you met me, and let's be honest.
Be more decisive.
cut this out.
Yeah.
I second that.
God.
It's hard, but you have a
me.
good heart.
I'm convinced, like, other than like within your obviously your marriage, I think you're a commitment phobe.
Yeah.
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 I mean, it did take us 10 years to get married.
Yeah. You know what? I think if you really committed, it would give you such a sense of security in your life and one less thing to worry about.
I'm getting uncomfortable.
I want to bring that to some talk therapy or maybe some ashwagandha or whatever.
But also, it's one of the wonderful things I love about you too, Jessie.
it does make you very funny.
It does.
Hey, it keeps you on the seat of your pants.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that.
Except for when we're submitting edits to our podcast at midnight the night before. But
You both
10.
I love your interactions with each other, and you both. I mean, it's a beautiful yin and yang and counterbalance to each other, and it's amazing to see. And I love this podcast and
Thank you.
the messages that you're spreading, and I think they're really positive, and it makes me really happy. It makes me super happy that I could have a little part in introducing you together.
Thank you.
Who would you think would win in a fight, me or Brie?
Are we talking physical or verbal?
Both.
Okay. All right.
She knows. I'm
I'm gonna say Brie.
yeah.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I would probably win
Is that
verbal.
based on experience?
Maybe. I know you are really good. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
depending on what level we're at.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? Dr. Kim said he thought I would win.
Yeah. I was like, are you out of your mind? I may have slapped
You guys
her
would
across the
really,
face one
yeah, I think you guys would both do serious damage to each other in many ways. Cutting words or, yeah.
I think
hair clumps out.
I think you would cut with the words and I would just deck you so hard because I wouldn't know what else to do.
And then I would need a nose job, and then I get the nose of my dreams.
Yeah.
That's true, Michael Kim.
I can make that happen.
Am I going to explain that to Vince? Who's got some toxic stories?
Do you have one to share?
So this is kind of weird and kind of gross. So Dr. Kim cut out 5 millimeters, almost 6 of my upper lip a couple weeks ago. Like 3 weeks.
It's great.
Yeah, thank you. It does. He did a great job. And
Did you have to dissolve your filler before?
no.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
He didn't make me do it. He's like, yeah, you don't really need to.
Okay.
I was like, okay. I still might, but
I think we should. I kind of want to do it like on that wet to dry border.
Dissolve it.
Yeah.
so you can see more teeth.
No, not because I think it looks fine.
Yeah.
I think I'm just curious what.
How much more teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think once it's like maybe once the swelling and like firmness has gone away a bit, let's definitely play. Give me a little more virginal.
Go through with a cannula
Across.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. Anyways, so he gives you like a little bit of like a ketamine oral medication, right? And I was just so freaked out. I was going to say something weird. So I just like laid there as still as possible. And in my brain, I was like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't move. Don't do anything weird. Don't do anything embarrassing. He stops and I was like, can I see that little piece of skin, that little thing? So the nurse brings it to me and she's showing it to me. And I was like, can I see the little penis thing that was in my mouth? Because, I had that piece of cartilage that was dangling in my mouth from a previous nose job. It was like up there and I could feel it with my tongue for the longest time. So during my consult with him, I was like,
How is it on your hard palate?
like right up above my teeth under my nose.
Oh,
Like from
God,
where
I
I
was
was like gone in
Okay.
to do a nose job.
Okay.
And he's like, I think that's like a piece of cartilage hanging in your mouth.
Like from your ear.
Yeah. He's like, so I'm going to cut that out too. So I go so far without saying anything weird. And they show me both of them. And I was like, that looks like a little penis. And they're like, yeah, we cut it in half. And I was like, can I have it?
I asked him specifically. I wanted to keep it.
And they didn't even answer me.
So you had a penis cut out of your mouth.
I did. Thank God. I feel like a new woman. That must have been holding some weird stuff in there. So, needless to say, they didn't like respond to me. They just kind of walked away, and I was like, "Oh no, I did it." They said something they didn't want to say. So I loved it. So that was kind of toxic and funny.
We're going to Foo Fighters with them tomorrow.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and Sam.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Oh, I love Sam. Yeah.
I know. Sweetie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the Foo Fighters?
At the Timber Stadium, first concert.
Oh,
They're going to start doing concerts there. How cool is that?
Cool.
Yeah, we have floor.
Oh, fun. Yeah. We love Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so cool.
He's kind of a hottie.
Yeah, he is. He's a cool story, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nirvana.
Yeah.
how about you guys? Anything toxic on your end?
Okay, so I had to really think about this one.
Lovely really had to dig.
Well, this is pretty gross, I think.
Go get it.
I think maybe I've shared it, but last year I had some GI trouble and I had giardia.
From what?
I have no idea. How the hell do you get giardia? I don't have animals.
You don't have a dog.
No.
So what happens?
It's just like major GI distress.
Like diarrhea?
Diarrhea, and then like your stomach's like, oh, all the time.
Do you have to test your
lose
poop?
weight?
I had to send in the poop sample, which was really gross. That little thing is so gross.
God,
We have to send it, and they analyze for all. I just send it to this special guy who analyzes parasites. I was like, this is so gross. Orson was like waiting for me, and he's like, "What are you doing in there, Mom?" And I was just like, "Ah,
Just analyzing by poop.
yeah." They give you, and it's like the setup they give you. This was from like Bio Lounge. Like this was like more of a natural kit. It wasn't like the one that maybe like regular doctor would give you.
They could just put
It
back
looked
the
like a
little-
paper
the
towel.
door.
I mean, it was really strange. So, anyways, I had giardia.
How long did it last?
I had to take an anti-parasitic that was so gross for 5 days that tasted like it left this horrible metallic taste in your mouth. And then it just went away.
Had you traveled or eaten out or
nothing?
anything?
They went through the whole list with me, and I was like, I have no idea. It was probably not washing like a piece of lettuce or something from a farmer's market. So it was
Freaky.
disgusting.
Could you imagine being the person that has to look through people's poop?
There's a guy in Colorado who loves doing it. Yeah. He's like a parasite specialist. It's really weird. I got the whole pamphlet reading about him, and I was like, this is what this guy does all day long. He just analyzes.
We should have him on the pod.
You really,
God, maybe we
you really should.
Can you imagine the questions we
Oh
can come
my
with?
gosh.
Do you think he'd be
And
stinky?
the wild parasites that people get.
Yeah, like what's your favorite kind of poop sample?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a crawling worm?
If you smelled poop, could you guess which parasite it is?
or which kind of person? What they look like?
Gag. I've been really nauseous lately. I don't know why.
How about you? Anything toxic?
No.
Nothing.
All right.
Just clean, huh?
I actually have a really, really sweet story.
Oh, let's hear
Okay.
it.
So when was the last time you guys went through PDX?
What do you mean?
Recently?
Yeah,
The
last
airport?
week.
The airport, yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
So it's all open.
Yeah.
It is stunning.
Not the main one, right? Is the main one
The
open?
room is open.
Oh, it is.
You
Okay.
guys-
It wasn't when Refinement I landed last
Yeah.
week.
I think it just opened like
Okay.
a few days ago.
Oh, cannot
It
wait
is
to see it tomorrow.
stunning. I was like my breath was taken away. It's beautiful. And it's funny because, you land on the B concourse and they made me walk all the way around to the other side, where the other gates are.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? Again, I thought that was supposed to be done this month. And I come out and it's like all this wood, this foliage. It is stunning.
You know, our friend Cam's company supplied the wood.
Oh, well.
Oh,
kudos,
that's
Cam.
so cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And so they created this space for when people get off the plane, there's like bleachers for people to wait for them.
Oh, I love that.
And this family, there were 2 little girls and a mom. And the little girls were dressed like Cinderella and Aurora and that's I know, and sparkle dresses, and the mom. And like they were holding signs, like it was clear the dad was coming back from service. And I looked at the mom's face, and I was just like she looked worried, like she was so nervous and excited that she couldn't even hide it. And I smiled at her, but she was just like, oh. And I had stopped, and he was coming up right behind me. The whole airport just let out these cheers, and I was
my gosh.
crying. Crying. I just turned and stood there, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta get out of here. I pulled my head down.
Can you imagine what families have to go through with that?
No. No, I know. And like, just, I watched
Oh.
the babies run up to him, and like, the mom was like almost in shock. You know, it was just like, it was so moving. And like, you know, saying goodbye to James this morning for 24 hours, which I've been away from him for much longer, was hard for me.
Absolutely.
And I totally thought about that family in that moment. And my heart just, you know, broke for them, but also so happy because it was such a special moment to witness. And walking into the airport and how stunning it was really special.
What a
That is a
beautiful
neat story. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you to our military.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you. You know,
God bless the troops.
Big sacrifice for
yeah,
us.
totally. I mean, you know, regardless where you stand politically, like, you have to give props to people who put themselves out there for that. you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, mad respect for military. It's always beauty in Toxland. You can find the beauty anywhere, just like you said.
It's true.
Lovely Laban, thank you.
Look for the good people.
Yes, thank you for everything. Thank you for being here with us.
It's been my honor. Thank you.
Be lovely, babes.
And stay toxic.